Welcome to another YouTube live stream or also on Facebook and on Twitter or X. So we're talking a little about today, put out the reel about realtors and lenders and kind of made it a little more dramatic, but firing themselves. And all that means is that you're in a spot where you're not able to make enough money. You don't have enough sales. You're not able to withstand or go through this industry that we're in right now in this very slow time. I mean, you have high interest rates, you have extremely low inventory, and so you've unfortunately seen, which is sad, a lot of people who have had to get out of the industry and look for other work or other means of income in order to just stay alive and be able to pay their bills. So, the first thing, would love it if you would go onto YouTube and subscribe, and follow, click the bell. That way you get notifications when we post things or go live and so forth. Um, and also any comments or direct messages or text messages or emails or anything that you've got. I love feedback and collaboration and chatting. So would enjoy that as well. But on the lender and the realtor side, so just some numbers, food for thought. The numbers for real estate agents first. So when we entered into 2023, there were 1.6 million real estate agents. Now, the data I was given is that on average in a given year, realtors, there's about 1.15 million of them spread out across the entire country. From the beginning of the year to June 30th of this year, first two quarters, 60,000 real estate agents left the industry and we're down to 1.54. Now, that is still, as maybe Nick Saban, some of you have heard of, that could be interpreted a little bit as a gnat on a cow's ass. But if you think about it, I mean, 60,000 people is still quite a bit. And you just wonder because a lot of times you see things happen more at the end of the year. So, for example, with realtors and with mortgage people, you have continuing education, you have licensing, you have all these things that are set to renew and have a cost and come up in the fourth quarter or right at Q1. And so that's when a lot of times you'll see the exit, because if you've already paid and you're licensed and so forth for this year, there's really no reason to resign or leave the industry or cancel your license now. You just ride it out through the end of the year and then you don't renew. That's when you see the biggest number and more of a true number as to what's happening across the board. So realtors right now, 60,000 left in the first half of the year. Don't have the numbers on Q3. We're expecting more to leave though. And then of course in Q4, I think that'll be the biggest just because of the licensing piece. So now let's look at the mortgage side. So on the loan officer side, 2 years ago, just 2 years ago, when rates were, I mean, I've heard some people, you get a 15-year rate around 1.5%. You get a 30-year rate at 2.5%. These are some of the people that's what they have on their house currently. At that time in the market, even at 180,000 loan officers, there were too many people wanting a loan than what mortgage companies and brokers could serve. And so if you fast forward to today, obviously with rates rising along with inventory being low on the housing side, that number's coming way, way down. So by the end of this year, there's only expected to be 80,000 loan officers going into 2024. So think about that. 180,000 2 years ago, 100,000 fall off in just 24 months, don't renew their license, and 2024 begins with less than half of what was there in 2021. So crazy numbers, crazy to think of. If you also look real quick at rates and inventory, these things aren't going to correct themselves in the next 30 days. My personal opinion, everybody asks this just because I happen to be in the mortgage business, so they want my opinion. I don't know the real answer. No one does. Okay. But if you want my theory on it, and it's only logic for me, like there's nothing that says, I'm not a like technicals and charts guy and all these different levers and understanding crazy, economic numbers or whatever. I'm going off of more logic from a politician standpoint. In 2024, it's an election year. Right now, I don't know of anybody that's truly happy with the way things are going in the world between war, economy, inflation, having to get multiple jobs just to survive and pay your mortgage, living off savings, credit card debt in the country over $1 trillion, all those things, negatives right now. There's really not a lot of positives other than if you have a home and your rate's 2.5%, that's a positive. If you own a home right now, you probably have decent, if not great, equity in the home. That's a positive right now. Some of you still, have jobs, haven't been let go, maybe haven't had to get a second job. That's a positive. A lot of you maybe get to work outside of the office or remote still because of the COVID impact on the economy. That can be considered a positive here and there. So you do have some positives, but overall, it feels like a negative right now in the economy and the world. I think that as you get into the second quarter and third quarter of 2024, and it's an election year, that the biggest and fastest impact that you can have for an economy is to get the mortgage rates down. If you can get those out, look, eggs are expensive, cheese is expensive. I got 3 kids. They eat, damn, they eat me out of house. Like they got stuff everywhere. They're just constantly going through groceries. So I get it. And I think that when you see some of those things and how that's going to relate, like dropping the price of eggs a couple of bucks, dropping a gallon of milk a buck, dropping orange juice $2 or $3, whatever. Yeah, that adds up here and there. But the biggest, most direct impact that you're going to see, in my opinion, is mortgage rates. And so if the government can get those to come down, slow down, or get into some refinance situations, get some more houses selling, get the economy cycling through again, those are all things, in my opinion, that could rejuvenate and get people more positive about what's going on in the country and the world. And then, of course, that leaves politicians to be in a situation where they say, hey, look what we did for you. Look at how awesome we are. Look at how much money we're saving you. Look at all these great things we're doing. I think gas will come back down. So gas got to almost $4 a gallon recently, and people weren't talking about it as much as they used to. So I think in the election year, and that's why, just because it's an election year, and that doesn't matter who it is, if it was red or if it's blue. When it's an election year, that's what they're focusing on. So I think rates come back down at some point in Q2, Q3, leading into the prime election cycle in the summer and into the fall. You get people some instant savings. Think about it. Dropping the price of eggs, nobody feels that instantly. You save $200 or $300 a month on your mortgage payment, people feel that instantly. So that's where I think we're headed. I think it's actually still going to continue to be higher rates and tighter inventory for another 4 to 6 months. And then you start to see the pressure get relieved. But going back to realtors and loan officers and working in this industry, how many more can continue to survive in the next 4 to 6 months if rates do remain higher and if inventory remains low? Again, I think it's the licensing over the next 90 days and seeing renewals, or 75 days, and seeing CE completion and renewals and so forth. If things don't change quickly, I think you're going to see a whole lot more fall off and look for something else to do while the housing industry kind of goes through this desert. So anyway, love to hear your comments. If you have some, please drop them in. Feel free to shoot DMs or text. If you got my cell, it's easy to find online. Shoot emails, whatever the case may be. But appreciate everyone on all the platforms. And again, on YouTube, if you will do me a quick favor, like, subscribe, and hit the bell for the notifications. Have a great Tuesday. We'll be back tomorrow.